Most people think paying their credit card every month means they are making financial progress. But what if I told you that after making every payment, your debt can stay almost exactly the same? Today, I'm going to show you why that happens and how changing the way you use your credit card can help you reduce interest, improve your cash flow, and make your debt start moving in the right direction. My name is Emma, and I help consistent earnings stop measuring financial progress by how hard they're trying and start measuring it by whether total debt is actually going down. In every video, you learn one thing you can implement immediately. Before we start, let me be clear. I'm not talking about using one credit card to pay another credit card. I'm talking about using your credit card as a cash flow tool. If your goals are to raise your credit score, pay less on interest, if your goal is, and that's what if your goal is to raise your credit score, pay less on interest, satisfy the credit card required payment, and start building an emergency fund, this strategy may help. Let's start with a simple example. Let's say your monthly income is $7,000 and your expenses are $6,900. Some expenses can be paid with a credit card, like for example groceries, gas, restaurant, car repair, flat tire, nails, hairdo, dog grooming. Those you could pay with credit card. Almost all of your everyday spending. Some expenses usually cannot be paid with a credit card, and those expenses are this: the mortgage you cannot pay, rent, loans, or personal loan, those you cannot pay with a credit card. Those still have to be paid separately. So what you do is that you separate this. You don't pay them with a credit card. You leave whatever amount you paid, you leave it in the bank so that you could pay it, and the rest, all the rest of the expenses, you pay with a credit card. Here's the strategy: instead of paying for groceries, gas, and everyday purchases directly from your checking account or savings account using your debit card, use your credit card. Then when your paycheck comes in, send one large payment to the credit card or divide it into portions throughout the month. That's what I did. I got my check, and whenever I was going to do the purchase, go to the grocery store, or the supermarket, not grocery store, supermarket, I paid. And since the bank saw that I was paying, my credit score got up. I paid less on interest because I was bringing that amount down. I satisfied the payment. I didn't have to think, oh, I have to pay for this credit card. And I was building an emergency fund. As you continue using the card throughout the month for your normal expenses, you are spreading that payment across the month instead of watching cash leave your checking account every few days. Now, let's look at why this matters mathematically. Suppose your credit card has a balance that you owe 10. I do this first. You owe you owe $10,000 and the interest is 24%. The minimum payment that it is required that you pay is $250. And notice that the interest is 200. So out of the 250 that you sent, the interest, that the money will be divided the following way. 200 is going to go into interest and only $50 go to reduce that debt. Out of the payment that's a question that I have for you. Out of the payment that you made for your credit card, how much actually reduced your debt? Go and find that out. And how much went towards interest? That's the number most people never calculate. Interest quietly eats part of every payment. The more interest you are paying, the less of your payment is reaching your balance. Let's calculate this in another, because I wanted to make sure that you understand. Let's calculate this same amount that you owe. You owe $10,000. The interest this time is $30,000. I mean that 30% instead of 24%. The minimum that is required to pay is $350. I do these calculations. I have videos where I teach this, how to calculate the minimum, because it's 2% or 3% of the total that you owe. So 350, you send those 350. The interest that is charged is 250, and the debt goes to 100 went to reduce this. So now you owe 900,900. That's how much. So notice that I wasn't happy when I learned that. You work hard to make a payment of 350 and only 100 actually reduce your debt. That's why so many people feel like they are making payments every month, yet their balance barely moves. Now you can actually see where your money went. Once you understand that, you begin making decisions differently. I think there are 3 ways people use credit. Therefore, one group is they buy everything with a credit card and carry balances month after month. They pay interest on almost everything. They think that's the way it is. The second group avoid credit completely. They pay cash for everything. That avoids interest. It avoids interest, but it can make it harder to build credit or qualify for a larger purchase like a home or a newer vehicle. And the third group of people use credit as a financial system, and that's what I'm teaching here. They use the credit card for normal spending. They manage cash flow. They avoid unnecessary interest, and they make sure their total debt keeps moving downward. That's the goal. The credit card isn't the problem. The system is. When you start measuring whether your total debt is actually decreasing instead of simply celebrating that you made another payment, you begin making decisions based on numbers instead of emotions. That's when real financial progress begins. Then watch this next video where I'll show you how to make even more of your payment go toward reducing debt instead of paying interest. Thank you.